My child, stop right where you are. Do not scroll, do not turn away. What is happening in this moment is not random, it is an appointment. The timing is not accidental. The fact that these words reached you today, at this exact hour, means your spirit is finally quiet enough to hear what has been waiting to be said. Take a deep breath, unclench your jaw, relax your shoulders, let go of tomorrow's worries and yesterday's regrets. We are about to walk back into a room you sealed off long ago. We need to talk about him, we need to talk about your father. Even seeing that word shifts something inside you. There is still a space in your life shaped exactly like his absence. You have learned to function around it. You have told yourself the official story, the medical explanation, the timeline everyone else accepts. You believe you know why he died. You were told it was his heart, his lungs, his body failing, a tragic intersection of biology and time. But that was only the surface. Your father did not simply die from a physical condition. He died carrying weight that was never meant for one human soul to hold alone. His body collapsed under pressure that had been building for years. He suffocated silently. He died from words he swallowed, from tears he never allowed himself to cry, from pretending he was stone when he was flesh and blood and trembling emotion. Remember him, not the version smiling in photographs. Remember the quiet moments, the times you caught him staring out a window at nothing, eyes heavy with a fatigue sleep could never fix. The sighs that rattled his chest when he thought no one was listening, the way he walked into a room and immediately tried to fix everything. He absorbed everyone's stress, everyone's anger, everyone's chaos, and no one absorbed his. He was the strong one. That was the role handed to him. The script society gave him, the script his family passed down. He believed being a man, being a father, being a protector, meant being invincible. He believed pain was weakness. He believed asking for help was failure. So he became a container for everyone else's darkness, financial pressure, emotional instability, broken dreams that were not even his own. He packed it all down into the deepest corners of his spirit and locked the door. But the human soul is not designed to be a graveyard for unspoken pain. What is suppressed does not disappear. It turns inward. The pressure became illness. The silence became stress in his veins. The heartbreak manifested in his body. Doctors treated symptoms. They could not treat the hidden grief. And now I need you to hear this with courage. I see the same shadows standing near you. I see the way you move through the world. I see how quickly you say, "I am fine," when your spirit is exhausted. I see how you overgive, overextend, and overfunction because you are afraid that if you stop, everything will fall apart. You are walking in his footprints. You are wearing his armor. You inherited his habit of silent suffering. You call it strength. But it is the same pattern that slowly consumed him. Carrying everything alone feels noble, but it corrodes you from the inside. This message is not here to reopen wounds. It is here to interrupt a cycle. If your father could stand before you without pride, without fear, without the mask he wore his entire life, he would grab your shoulders and say this: "Put the weight down. You are not required to be invincible. You are not responsible for holding everyone together. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to break. You are allowed to ask for help. Strength is not silent suffering. Strength is honesty. The pattern ends with you. The story does not have to repeat itself. Put the armor down before it fuses to your skin. Speak before silence becomes sickness. Release what he never could. This is not just remembrance. This is prevention. And you still have time." He would tell you this with urgency. The cost of being everyone's hero is your own life. He would tell you that devotion to constant self-sacrifice is not love. It is self-abandonment. And if it continues long enough, it becomes self-destruction. He does not want you to become the next chapter in the same story. We are only beginning to uncover the layers. There are specific burdens he carried that quietly attach themselves to you. Patterns do not disappear when a person dies. They echo, they transfer. They settle into the nervous system of the next generation. But first, I need to know you are truly hearing this. If something in you feels exposed right now, if the fatigue I described feels familiar, if your chest tightened while reading this, pause and acknowledge it. Not for anyone else, for yourself. Awareness is the first break in the chain. Take a moment. Breathe. Drink some water. Let your heart slow down, because now we are going deeper. Your father lived under a powerful lie. He believed his worth was measured by how much he could endure. He carried a silent contract inside himself that said, if I never complain, if I fix everything, if I carry everyone without asking for help, then I will be safe, then I will be loved. He stopped seeing himself as a human being with needs. He became a role, a function, the provider, the stabilizer, the rock. But even rocks erode under constant pressure. He believed that if he stopped for even a moment, everything around him would collapse. That belief stole his peace long before it stole his health. Picture his life clearly. How many times did he say yes when his body was exhausted? How many people approached him only when they needed something? Money, advice, time, emotional labor, and he gave it. He gave from an empty cup. He scraped the bottom of his own reserves to feed the emotional hunger of others. He called it responsibility. He called it strength. He called it love. But there is a difference between generosity and self-destruction. He crossed that line quietly, so quietly that no one recognized it until he was gone. Now look at yourself. When you sit down to rest, do you feel guilt? When you have a free moment, does anxiety creep in and whisper that you should be doing more? Fixing something, helping someone, solving a problem that is not even yours? That voice is not wisdom, it is inherited pressure. It is the echo of a nervous system trained to equate worth with usefulness. Your father believed he had to hold up the sky, and somewhere along the way you absorbed the same belief. You have what looks like empathy, but it often turns into over-responsibility. You walk into a room and instantly sense who is hurting. Your body reacts before your mind does. You absorb tension. You anticipate needs. You step in without being asked. You lose sleep over problems you cannot control. You attract broken people not because you are cursed, but because your energy signals, I will carry you. And just like him, you are starting to feel the strain. Your shoulders are tight, your mind is rarely quiet, your heart is always on alert. This is not strength. This is survival programming. And if it is not interrupted, it will cost you peace, health, and years of your life. The lie must be dismantled. Your worth is not measured by endurance. You are not required to hold everyone together. You are allowed to rest without earning it. You are allowed to say no without explaining yourself. You are allowed to exist without being useful. This is where the pattern breaks, not through guilt, not through shame, but through awareness and a new choice. You do not have to carry what broke him. You can choose differently. And that choice begins the moment you decide that your life is worth protecting. Listen to me, my beloved. This is not who you are. It is a strategy you learned to survive. Your father lived in survival mode for most of his life. He carried responsibilities, quietly. He tried to protect everyone around him. He believed strength meant silence. He believed love meant sacrifice without limits. But survival is not the same as living. And now you are beginning to see the pattern. You say, I'm fine, even when you are tired. You hold everything together. You make sure everyone else feels safe. You rarely ask for support. This is not weakness. It is conditioning. But hear this gently. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to have needs. You are allowed to be cared for too. Sometimes when emotions are suppressed for too long, the body asks for attention. Stress can show up as tension, fatigue, or discomfort, not as punishment, not as destiny, but as information. Your body is not your enemy, it is your messenger. And the message is simple. You do not have to carry everything alone. The cycle can end with you, not through fear, not through guilt, but through awareness. Awareness is power. Awareness gives you choice. You can begin by admitting you are tired. You can begin by saying no without apology. You can begin by asking for help without shame. Your father did the best he could with what he knew, and now you have the chance to choose differently. This is not about blaming him, it is about honoring him by living more fully than he was able to. You are not betraying anyone by caring for yourself. You are breaking a generational pattern of silent endurance. If something in these words resonates with you, take a breath. Place your hand on your heart. Say quietly, I am allowed to live, not just survive. Let that be your beginning. In the previous messages, we named the pattern, the pressure, the expectations, the difficulty of saying no. Now we arrive at something more important than the pain. We arrive at choice. Your father lived with the belief that love meant constant availability. He believed strength meant endurance. He carried more than he needed to carry, not because he was weak, but because he did not know another way. You know another way. The tool he never fully learned is this: boundaries. A boundary is not rejection, it is clarity. A boundary is not selfishness, it is responsibility for your own energy. You cannot pour endlessly without eventually running dry. That is not spiritual failure, that is biology, that is humanity. When you feel exhausted, overwhelmed, or tense, it is often a signal. Not a curse, not karma, not destiny, just information. Information that something needs adjusting. You are not responsible for fixing everything around you. You are not responsible for carrying what others refuse to carry. Supporting someone does not require sacrificing yourself. You can say no and still be loving. You can rest and still be valuable. You can disappoint someone and still be a good person. Breaking a pattern does not dishonor those who came before you. It honors them by evolving beyond what limited them. If your father were here today, he would likely want you safe, balanced, and alive, not exhausted trying to prove your worth. You are allowed to close the gate sometimes. You are allowed to turn off your phone. You are allowed to say, I can't do that right now. This is not cruelty. It is maturity. And here is the most important truth. Your value does not increase when you overextend. Your value does not decrease when you set limits. You are worthy because you exist. If something in this resonates, pause. Take one slow breath. Ask yourself, where in my life do I need one clear boundary? Start there, quietly, calmly, without drama. The cycle does not break with anger, it breaks with awareness and consistent action, and that is something you are fully capable of. That is why the pressure may feel stronger lately, not because something is attacking you, but because change is uncomfortable. When you begin to set boundaries, the old dynamic often resists. People are used to the version of you who always says yes. When that changes, it can feel like tension. That tension does not mean you are wrong, it means you are growing. When a demand comes, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself gently, is this mine to carry? If it is not, you are allowed to decline without drama. You are allowed to return responsibility to its rightful owner, not angrily, not defensively, just calmly. You are not responsible for holding everyone together. You are responsible for maintaining your own balance. And that is enough. If you want to anchor this shift, say to yourself, I choose my peace. Not as rebellion, not as defiance, but as alignment. Choosing peace does not mean avoiding responsibility. It means choosing sustainable responsibility. As you reflect on your father, remember this truth: he loved deeply. His care was real. His devotion was real. There is no shame in that. The only thing he may have lacked was permission to include himself in that care. You can include yourself. You are not here to redeem someone else's pain. You are here to live your own life fully. You are not a correction of his failure. You are a continuation of his strength, expressed in a wiser way. Every time you say no with respect, you are practicing balance. Every time you rest without guilt, you are practicing self-respect. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you are building a life that can last. There is no shadow chasing you. There is no curse attached to your bloodline. There is only awareness meeting choice. And awareness changes everything. If something feels lighter right now, it is not because a battle was won. It is because clarity replaced confusion. You are not breaking free from suffering through force. You are simply stepping out of a pattern that no longer serves you. And that is growth. You are free to live, free to love, free to rest, free to say yes, free to say no, not because someone fell, but because you learned, and learning is enough. As you move forward from this moment, you may begin to notice subtle shifts. You may feel calmer when someone tries to rush you. You may hear a steadier tone in your voice when you speak honestly. You may realize that some relationships change when you change, and that is not loss, it is alignment. When you stop overextending, the people who only valued your availability may drift away. Let them. Space is not emptiness, space is opportunity. You are not shrinking your world, you are refining it. As you reflect on your father, imagine this. If he truly loved you, he would want you safe, balanced, and alive. He would want you laughing without constant tension. He would want you to take up space without apology, not because you are rebelling, but because you are healthy. This moment is not an initiation into something mystical, it is a decision, a conscious shift. And staying free is not a one-time breakthrough, it is a daily practice. The world will continue to ask for your time, your energy, your attention. That is normal. Your responsibility is not to withdraw from life. It is to engage with it intentionally. Keep reminding yourself of what you learned here. Keep choosing peace when possible. Keep setting boundaries with clarity and respect. If this message resonated with you, if it gave language to something you have been feeling but could not name, then stay connected. Subscribe if you want more conversations like this, not because you need saving, not because you are broken, but because growth is easier in community. You are not here to disappear into other people's expectations. You are here to live fully. You are worthy of rest, you are worthy of respect, and you are capable of protecting your own peace. That is freedom.